Yeah. Mr. C, can I finish the video today during the review?
What video?
The video that we were watching about like the rabbit population.
Oh, right.
Oh yes, the rabbit population. I am curious about that.
We can finish that, sure.
Due today. What's due today?
You're gonna read all of
Today.
that.
All of your homework. Today. Wait, I should make up a math problem. I'm just gonna write something down. 7L times 400. Chapter 3 of 12 Greek and Romans. Chapter 4 of Ancient Greek. X equals 2.
Oh, whoa.
That.
Wait, what is that first two letters?
Yeah.
That's an upside down L, and that's a regular size L.
What is it? Your handwriting's worse than mine. What is at the end of the 14 million?
No,
It's
just
plus
L.
2. It's X equals 2.
Is that 14 million X?
Equals 2.
Plus equals
X.
Oh.
It's an X. How
It looks like.
You need to work on your X's.
Your X's and your O's.
There. That's an X.
No, what's on the end of 14 million?
Oh, that's an X.
So now it's just upside down L. Wait, now that just looks like a draping.
14 million and LX equals 2. So therefore, X is equal to 1 over
14 million.
7 million-ish.
Yes, I do not
All right.
know what the answer is.
What is 1 over 7 million?
1 over 7 million is 7 million.
Rectangle.
All right, quizzes tomorrow. We're going to go over this really briefly. Ben, can you see the board?
Wait. No
I
test.
thought there was a test.
Is it a test? Test. Okay. I'm thinking of algebra 1.
Forgot my lunchbox. That's not good. No, it's in my back.
Ben, can you see the board?
Yes, I can see the board.
It says state the most specific name for each figure.
Rectangle.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
All right. That was pretty easy. Next.
Isosceles trapezoid.
Yeah, I possibly tried.
Why is that isosceles?
Because two of the sides are congruent and the base angles are all congruent.
So you could tell it's isosceles either obviously because of the side lengths or if I just gave you angles. Now, if I gave you angles, could you tell it was any other sort of trapezoid?
Yeah.
What?
Because I can figure out if it was a right trapezoid.
So that's the only other one.
And if not, and
So-
if you gave me the one that I could
Just say trapezoid, right?
Wait a second. 60 plus 60 equals 120. It has to equal 180 since that's the line.
No. Remember the
Dang it.
the two opposite base angles are supplementary. The two, and I should say, did I say that right? The two opposite base angles are congruent. The two opposite that what were words? I better get words. The two that are attached to the leg, there we go. Two that are attached to the leg are supplementary. The opposite base angles are congruent. All right. All right, what's that?
That's a rhombus.
No, it's not a rhombus. That's just a parallelogram. What's that?
Just a parallelogram. No, it's a rhombus.
Oh, wow. Now, notice you can't, if I just give you the angles on a parallelogram or a rhombus, you can't tell anything because they're exactly the same, meaning that the opposite or the diagonal angles are congruent for parallelograms and rhombus. So I have to give you side measurements to differentiate a parallelogram from a rhombus. What's that?
A rectangle.
Square. That's a,
Rhombus.
that's a,
Trapezoid.
now it looks to be like it's a right one, but if they don't put the marking, you can't make that conclusion.
But you can.
Well, it certainly looks like it. That's a,
Parallelogram.
that's a,
Rectangle.
Rectangle.
that's a
Isosceles trapezoid.
isosceles trapezoid. All right. The next thing, so I'm going to give you, I don't know, 4 of those. You just got to put the specific type of, the most specific type of quadrilateral you got. So that's easy. And then I'm going to give you, you're going to figure out sides or angles of a parallelogram. So what do you know about sides and angles of parallelograms? Tell me everything you know.
Consecutive angles are supplementary.
So consecutive angles, that means one after another. Doesn't matter whether they're up, down, or left or right, but 2 in succession, they're going to be supplementary. What else? Opposite angles are congruent. Opposite sides are congruent. Anything else? There's one other thing we know about parallelograms.
Yeah, the two sides of opposite sides of parallel.
We said that. We said opposite sides, opposite angles, or diagonal angles. We said consecutive angles or supplementary. It's one other thing about parallelograms. Diagonals are they bisect each other. And if that parallelogram is a rectangle, then the diagonals are congruent. Okay. So therefore, the question mark is, what is it? 65. 65.
Yeah. 130.
What?
140.
All right.
139. 100.
All right, enough of that. So I can make this more difficult if I give you expressions.
They equal each other. I knew it. Boom.
All right, so tell me what to do.
X equals 9. Yeah.
Well, that's not what it says.
I know, but then the fundamental angle are 4
So tell me what to do, McKinley.
4 plus 14, x equals -5 plus 15. Then when Jack said, which x equals 9, through a bunch of math, I do not have.
Move that to that side.
Yeah.
Move that to that side.
measured angle R is 130.
So you get 9 is equal to x. Therefore, angle R
is 130.
100.
Now, notice, I mean, these are opposite. So even though it's asking for R, if this was easy, like if this was just X, right, then rather than throw it into that one, you could just toss it in here and get the answer immediately.
Yes, that's because
All right.
I will.
Ben, you good on this one? The process of how you to figure out the angle?
I need a cut on
Okay, Ben's in donut land.
No, I'm not.
You sound like your face is stuff.
You good on this one, Ben?
Yes, I'm good on this one.
All right, what's the difference between Ben, this one, 16, and 17?
Well, so with 16, it was the two angles equal each other, but with this one, it's 14. You add the two angles together and equals 180.
Perfect. Can anybody do that in their head?
I cannot.
Yes, I can.
Do it.
30 equals 180. X equals 6.
So therefore, V is?
V is 14 times 6 is 8.
Wait, let me see. I'll figure this out.
No, yeah, 84.
So therefore, the answer is?
It's 85.
All right, pretty good. Hey,
One up me, Anna. Always gotta
you did the whole thing in your head. Good job. I showed that to period 2, and they were, let's just say we spent some time on this one. The other thing, too, is just from the test or the quiz test thing, I don't have many of these. I'm giving you a different test than I'm giving the regular kids. You're not going to run this problem. But if you ever see this and you're like, I can't tell what's going on here. Is this whole thing, if you can't tell which piece goes with which piece there, just make sure you ask the question. All right. Tell me, is this equal 180 or they're equal? All right. See what I'm saying? I mean, this is kind of like really wide, so you might not know if it goes to the U or the R. You could what? Why? Why?
Well, I mean, logically, if you cut 25x and that is equal to 26x minus 4, and I mean, just logically.
I'm just trying to figure out the logical part of it.
Oh yeah, it's positive. I'm just saying, like, if you have 26x minus 4, you're adding minus 4, and you have 25. If you're at minus 4, you're going to get 25. So then you're obviously going to be 25. I don't see why that you don't.
I would think if it was a -5, I kind of understand your logic there, but the -4 is a little tricky.
Well, x equals 4 because of minus 4.
Right, but I'm saying, I understand why you're saying that it's just one less or one more. If it was a -5 or a +5, I kind of see your logic there, that it would be one more than that. But, okay. Enough of that. All right. Insult your intelligence.
No, let me guess. I think it's
24.
8.6.
All right, enough of that.
18.3.
All right, what do we do here?
All right, 2x plus minus 6 equals x, and then we subtract x, we get x minus 6 equals 0 plus 6, and then x equals 6.
So how big is FE, though?
FE is 6,
Well, how did you do that so quickly?
because DG is x, and then because of opposite.
So that was the example I gave you before. So if you know that both sides are congruent and one side is x, then even though it's asking to find FE, you could also find DG. So a little bit of gamesmanship there. Okay. These right here will only you'll only typically get these wrong because you jump to conclusions. You don't look at what it's telling you to do. So
Divided by 2. Multiply by 2. Then you get a number. 36.
There you go.
I don't know math like that.
okay, so the answer is 36. Okay.
I'm only good at writing down formulas. Maybe. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
I think.
XL is 16. So LZ is equal to 16.
Stop me if you don't get it.
BL equals 19, which means
BD
BD
equals.
McKinley.
You can't do it if you don't know the answer.
I know the answer. It's 38. Yeah.
Okay. So how can I make this more difficult? Make it expressions. So for me, I'm always more of I would rather times by 2 than to take half of something. So when I solve something like this, I'm not going to say that that this piece is half of this piece. I'm going to say double this piece is that piece. So when I set it up, it says that KF, or that piece right there, well, double KF, so double x plus 9, would equal the whole thing, and the whole thing is equal to 5x minus 6. Now, you could set it up the other way would be x plus 9 is equal to,
What? 5x minus 6.
so you tell me which one you rather. I mean, the very first step is to multiply both sides by 2, which you just set it up that way. So I find this a little bit easier because one, it saves me a step, and I also don't have to deal with division. The only time that might be quicker is if this was a 4 or something, and you could divide both of these by 2 really quickly type thing, but that's not the case here. Therefore, what? We get 2x plus 18, so you might screw up the distributive property. Let's see, can you do that in your head?
Yeah.
So 3x equals,
3x equals 24.
so x equals
6.
8.
Yes, 8.
Therefore, and then you got to be careful
17.
what it's asking. It's saying KF, so this piece, so therefore it's 17. Okay. Usually, in the honors class, this is the one that will cause problems because they're just not paying attention and they're making assumptions. It's not hard to do. It's just you just don't pay attention to the details. All right. How do we do these?
EF is 9.
Okay. Remember that the median of a triangle is equal to 1/2 of its opposite base, or the base that's parallel to it. All right. Pretty easy. These make it more challenging once again if I.
Add variables.
All right. So.
Because math is hard.
Do you see what I mean by this one is a little confusing by where they put the numbers?
Yeah.
I mean, you might just, if you're doing it really quickly, you might assume that ln is 2x minus 6, when in fact that's actually, there's no arrows pointing there. Anna, give me a setup. So most people would just say 4x minus 12 because they're thinking ahead. Therefore, okay, Kim.
Negative 18. 16.
It could be negative.
Oh, wait, no,
Oh,
It's 8. Okay.
Yeah.
So x equal to 8. And then we got to make sure that we see what they're asking for. They're asking for this piece. So 10. Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
And what else did we have in this chapter? We had the trapezoid. What do we get for the trapezoid ones? Yep, 10. What was the trapezoid thing?
Isosceles triangle, the base angle is congruent. Not triangle.
Isosceles trapezoid, the base angles are congruent. Therefore,
Well, n equals 71.
right, because remember, the base angle would be right here. This would be 109. But the two angles that are attached to the leg or that form the leg are supplementary to each other. So therefore, that's 71. Okay. Did I give you any more? I did a bad job of selecting these problems. This one might, just because, okay, so how big is this angle?
We don't know.
We don't know, and they can't ask you that question. So.
But you could figure it out.
You can't figure this one out. Only if it was isosceles. But if it's either a right or a regular one, unless they give us angle U, you're not figuring out what T is ever. Okay, this is the one that you were. What do we got?
Okay, the median of the trapezoid is equal to the two combined.
Close, but no.
The two added together.
Close, but no.
The top two. Yeah, the top two divided by 2. 3.
Closer.
4.
Closer. You said it right.
The sum of the top one and the bottom one divided by 2 equals the median.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
So what do you want me to write?
18.2 equals 10.4.
And for me, I'm thinking ahead. I'm going to immediately say 2 times 18.2 because I know that I want to get rid of that half immediately.
Equals 10.4.
What?
Equals 10.4x. Oh, yeah, plus x.
Plus x. Okay. So, I mean, I'm not saying you can't do that. I mean, that's what it says. But we know the first step would be multiply both sides by 2. So, heck, I might even multiply it. If it's anything other than a decimal. If it was 18, I'd write 36. This is
36.4.
So 36.4. Notice that they are nice to us here. Give us a nice number. Therefore, x is
26.
26. That was easy. Did I answer the question?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then we can get to the ugliest of the ugliest, where all of those are variable expressions. I can't do this backwards.
Aha, like that Darth Vader scene.
Or did I give you any like that? No, I didn't. I've made them all numerical. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So what we have going on is this front here. So your test will not be like this, but this will be the skill. I mean, these are just the skills. So we already did the practice test. That's closer to what your test will look like. There'll be 2 proofs, but this is just, the skill portion. So there's just practice on literally what we just did, just different numbers and whatnot. So it shouldn't take too long.
Question: if I photocopy all this book and put it inside my book of truth, does that mean that it's technically it?
We can't use anything until we prove it. So
Wait, we've already proven all. Yeah.
no, but he's saying the whole book. So anything beyond chapter 6, we haven't proven yet. No, this is chapter 5. Anything beyond chapter 5, so 6 and beyond, we haven't actually proven yet, so we can't use it.
Aha, we're about halfway through in about
There are
chapters.
13 chapters or 14?
14.
There's 14, so we just need to make it through chapter 7 by Christmas time, which we will. There's 2 things, well, 1 thing coming up, or 2 things really. One, we didn't take CMAS last year. You should take PSAT this year, but we're unsure of it. The school's starting like most schools do. We haven't done it for the last 2 years, is that they have other standardized tests that we take. So the school is going to start for 6th grade and higher to do this standardized test. So the only standardized test that you take, instead of having the only standardized test being PSAT, we're going to take another one. It's called NWEA. It's just a math test. It's going to be done on a computer. We'll probably do it sometime between now and Thanksgiving. It's a 1 day. I've been told it's a 1-day test, and it just basically tests you on all your knowledge of math. So those tests are usually pretty fun to do. More on that. You will be taking the geometry test, though, not the everything test. So I'm really interested to see what that test looks like. But that should happen sometime between now and they say it's at my old school district. We did something similar, and they would always say, yeah, the students can take it in 1 day, but it usually took 2 or 3 days to finish it. And then the last thing, of course, is just remember we're going to have semester finals. So semester finals will be a real true semester finals for the first time. It's going to be a half-day schedule. Come in, take a test or 2 or 3, and then go home. We had it. We just didn't have half day. We did a full day, and it was like, no, that's not what it's supposed to be. Just, and we also had mandatory study hall too. But it's supposed to be for high school. It's supposed to be you just go do semester finals and then you go home.
Those days were very long.
They are because
We had like
They were
3
rough.
student advisors.
right.
Remember those days when we watched that?
Which one?
The
Oh,
Life
yeah,
of
that's
Ivan Dragonovich, or whatever.
Oh.
That was during CMAS, but not
Oh, okay.
mine.
Watching the Gulag movie.
That was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how the kid turns.
Even Mr. Graham said he didn't like that.
I watched parts of it. The parts I watched that were pretty cool when they were building something. Ben, do you have any questions?
I have no question.
I
No.
believe that
Why are you laughing?
the study guide is up right now, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, just remember this is just a skill thing, so it's not all inclusive like the previous practice test you took. The previous practice test is closer to the real test. This is just I just pulled out all the skills just for practice type things, so we wouldn't forget them the day before the test.
Okay.
I'm gonna post the test sometime in the morning tomorrow, so it'll be live before the actual class time. You're free to take whenever you want.
Is there any homework?
Not for tonight. This is it.
Okay.
Means I can work on my
Ooh, huh. So I'm gonna let you go, Ben.
Okay. Goodbye.
All right.